What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about a PS5 shortage, or the PS5 shortage, potentially lasting until 2023. So this has kind of made its way around the internet over the last little while. This is not something new, as you guys probably, maybe some more than others, know very well, right? There was kind of over the last, I'd say, several months, there was kind of the word, or maybe even several weeks, that this could very well last until next September. September 2022 could be the golden month, right, of the golden year that ends the chip shortage of these next-gen consoles, which is more than just PS5, but obviously PS5 is what's kind of the biggest thing, right, in terms of what people kind of focus on with it. And, September would be when it would potentially end, or at least that's kind of as far as their forecast has made it out to be. Well, obviously, if you guys are watching this video, over the past couple days, that's been kind of adjusted, not necessarily in, it's a dire forecast, but it's not like the most detailed. It's kind of like an add-on where it's like, September 2022 is as far as we can, very confidently say. But it could go until, it could go until 2023. We're not 100% sure. That's, in my opinion, from what I've read, really any article, even from, the person who was saying this stuff in the first place, that's kind of the sense that I get. And maybe you guys get a different sense, so you can let me know. But that's kind of how I see it, is that, they can confidently say till next September, but really, this could be going on until, the beginning of 2023. Look, I've said it before about getting PlayStations and even what I feel about abandoning or leaving last gen for current gen, and when do you do that? When do you do that in a normal where there's no problems going on? When do you do it in a situation like this? I've said stuff, and I mean it. I'm not saying I never meant anything I've ever said. No, I mean all the stuff I've said, and I do feel, I've always said this, I feel for anybody who's deeply actually trying to get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox or whatever, and they cannot get it because of these shortages. So going down that line, I would say it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's not our fault. I've said that before. It's not really well, here's the thing, right? Because you look back to last year, okay? And obviously the stuff around the world, and we're not going to go through a political lesson, with that kind of stuff, but that stuff happens, and it's like, well, do you launch the PS5 and Xbox Series S and X during this time? And there was talk. There were people that were saying it. Remember, there was even potential talk. Now, we don't know how true it was, but there were people saying throughout 2020, right? I have to remember, the years, because they get confusing after a while. There were people talking throughout all of 2020 saying, do they get delayed? Do they potentially, does Sony decide, you know what, we could still do this in February and be fine? You know what I mean? And so that was a thing, at least what I saw, and, it never ended up happening. You look at it now, and it's like, well, honestly, the chip shortage is the chip shortage, but, in terms of, well, was it wrong of them to release it? I mean, if the chip shortage continues to 2023, what, were we supposed to just accept last gen until that time? We got everything out of last gen that we could have, so we did need this. The issue that I now have, right, because I'm not going to hide from it. I'm not going to be ashamed of it. I'm a supporter of moving to the next generation, and the quicker I think that we do it, this is separate from me feeling bad for people not being able to get it. That still stands. But what I'm saying right now, right here and now, is I think we do need to embrace the future technology in the way of, I don't actually like robots, the ones that can do gymnastics. Those scare me. But PS5s, they're not scary. They can stay, and I want us to embrace them because I want games to advance in some shape or form. And honestly, I think, we could actually even stop the visual enhancements and the technical advances. We need to get down and dirty to what makes a game a good game, because a lot of that stuff has been lacking for a long time. A lot of it's gotten lazy and repetitive. So maybe you could even be the devil's that was even devil's advocate on myself. There's a lot of different ways of going into it. But, what I'm basically saying is I want to be part of this 6-year journey with PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. Basically what I'm saying is I want these next-gen consoles to have their window, their window where they're out, and where we have games on them, where we advance games in whatever ways that they happen with these consoles. The issue is, do we get that now with this? This is factually different than in the past. Again, removed from anything really I've said in the past. The issue is like, look, we know console lifespans get shorter over time. I mean, that's just like with technology, with computers and advancements, consoles do not last as long, and we know Sony and Microsoft do not want them out as long. So while you could have a console back in the day last 7-8 years, now it's more like 6, maybe even 5, and I think in the future it will be, sadly, like even less. You know what I mean? Like it constantly goes down every so often. So like the point there is like, well, by the time people can actually get this thing, okay, let's say 2023, let's even say January to be like super generous. You know what I mean? That's 2 full years, 2 years and 2 months, okay? And it can go further. It can go 2.5 years, maybe even 3 years. That's half, I guess 2 years is more like a third, right? That's like half to a third of the lifespan of these next-gen consoles, and some people cannot actually get them. You know what I mean? Now, again, I do think, and I'm going to stand by it, I do think if you are like a super internet warrior, you could probably find the console if you're patient, if you know where to look, if you can get in there. But at the same time, I know there's, I think of names right now. I'm not going to say them out loud. I don't know if you guys are comfortable of me saying your names, but I know there's people, in the comments that have been with me for a while that have said, like, I am trying daily and I cannot get it. And that sucks and I hate that. You know what I mean? So I do know that happens, but I would say kind of wider scale, it is possible to get it if you're like super, super like investing everything into seeking one. But at the same time, I'm not cruel, okay? I'm not a Heartless from Kingdom Hearts. Like, I understand that, it should be, you should be able to walk into a store, and it will be like that, hopefully, in 2023. You walk into a store, there's your PS5, there's your Series X, you grab it, and you go home. You know what I mean? But that's already a third of the way or half of the way through the lifespan. So now we only got, and again, like that goes to all of my other points, right? Where it's like, well, why did I buy a PS5 day one if I'm not going to get the most out of it until year 3 out of 6? And then we get to get it for 3 years, and then they're going to be pushing the PS6 on us and wanting us to drop the 5. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter where you stand on liking or hating. Like, that's the way it is. That's what's going to happen. And I've always, I really have tried to say that as best as I can. So that's, all of that stuff, honestly, is always floating around my head and does upset me. You know what I mean? Because it all connects. It all connects. These chip shortages do connect to my thought of like, well, everybody kind of gets screwed. You know what I mean? Because people can't get it for a couple more years, maybe, some people, right? And then you have people that buy it day one and they kind of feel, cheaped out of it, right? Or like they didn't need to actually buy it day one. They could have bought it year 3 and there would have been absolutely no difference, which is, for the most part, I'm going to assume kind of true. Even you look, again, to what I've said about like God of War and Horizon. I mean, I think God of War being on both PS4 and PS5 is not, it's not what I want. I mean, just factually, it's not. And I get, obviously, that makes people mad. But, like, you keep doing that for another year or two, even after God of War. And then, again, the question is, why in God's name did I get the PS5? So you have that segment. But then you also have people that have been trying for 3 years to get this console. And then when they do get it, 3 years later, they're told to buy the PS6. So, like, no, you know what I mean? No matter what, it's a bad situation for almost everybody. You know what I mean? Really, I guess maybe except for Sony or except for Microsoft, except for these companies. So it's tough, guys. I hope I kind of came through the right way. I know I'm controversial. I know I say things not everybody likes. I get that. I'm not going to please everybody. I've never tried to. But hopefully you guys understand kind of where I'm coming from. So let me know what you guys think about this insane story of the chip shortage that's going on years longer than anybody wants it to, right? Let me know. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. As always, if you want to follow me over on Twitter or subscribe to my second channel or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links for all of them are in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.